The diplomatic station Harmony's Edge had been humanity's greatest achievement in interstellar relations. Suspended in neutral space between 12 different stellar nations, it housed over 40 species in relative peace. That peace shattered on October 31st, when Raya and Toby decided to teach the Calvix cubs about Halloween. Ambassador Tiara of the Calvix Collective watched in growing horror as the two human children explained the concept to her offspring. The Calvix were apex predators from a world where pack hunting was encoded into their very DNA. Their young, despite their fluffy appearance, possessed retractable claws, infrared vision, and an instinct for pursuit that had evolved over millions of years. "So you dress up scary," Toby explained enthusiastically, his vampire cape swishing as he gestured. "And you hunt for candy door to door. It's called trick-or-treating." Raya nodded, her witch hat bobbing. "And if people don't give you candy, you play tricks on them." "It's super fun!" The three Calvix cubs, Karath, Manera, and Little Sivik, listened with ears perked forward, their golden eyes widening with each word. Tira saw the moment understanding clicked in their predatory minds. This wasn't just a game. This was a sanctioned hunt. "This Halloween," Karath rumbled, his juvenile voice still carrying the growl of his species. "Humans celebrate hunting." "Well, not real hunting," Toby clarified. "It's pretend scary. We go in groups and—" "Groups!" Manera interrupted, her tail swishing with excitement. "Pack tactics. And we chase those who refuse to offer tribute?" Sivik asked, already crouching low. Raya laughed. "I mean, we don't really chase people. We just—" Her explanation came too late. The cubs had already bolted from the recreation room, howling with primal joy. Within minutes, they'd rallied 17 other young Calvix from the station's residential sectors. Tiara watched the security feeds in dismay as the pack of cubs fashioned costumes from whatever materials they could find. Torn sheets, decorative lights, and in one concerning case, what appeared to be decommissioned plasma conduits. "Attention all station residents," the automated system announced. "This is not a drill. Multiple Calvix juveniles have organized into a hunting pack and are requesting candy or tricks. Species with natural prey responses are advised to evacuate to the safe zones on decks 12 through 15. The station erupted into chaos. The Vritik, a species of herbivorous beings who communicated through bioluminescence, began flickering in panic and stampeding toward the evacuation shuttles. The crystalline Gentari locked down their quarters. Their usually tranquil chiming transformed into alarm sirens. 3 different ambassadors filed formal complaints within the first 10 minutes. But something unexpected happened as well. A Thorian warrior, 7 feet of scaled muscle and battle scars, watched a pack of cubs approach his quarters. They'd fashioned crude masks and were chanting something in broken standard about tricks and treats. Instead of activating his sector's defensive shields, he tilted his massive head and laughed, a sound like grinding boulders. "Small hunters demand tribute? Very well." He produced a container of Thorian battle rations. "Take your spoils, young warriors. You've shown courage approaching a predator's den." Karath accepted the offering with a ceremonial bow he'd clearly improvised. "The hunt continues," he declared, and the pack moved on. On deck 8, Raya and Toby finally caught up with the hunting party, now swollen to 23 cubs and, concerningly, 5 adult Calvix who'd decided to supervise by teaching proper stalking techniques. "This has gotten out of hand," Raya whispered to Toby as they watched the pack execute a flanking maneuver on the Denari science wing. "I don't know," Toby whispered back. "Look." The Denari, normally reserved an academic, had apparently decided that evacuation was beneath their dignity. Instead, they'd prepared elaborate treats, geometric puzzles and mathematical challenges that would grant candy rewards upon completion. The cubs attacked these with the same intensity they'd brought to the hunt, working in coordinated groups to solve problems that would stump most adults. On deck 6, the Mulketh engineering crew had constructed an actual haunted house in their workshop, complete with holographic monsters and jump scares. They charged each cub 1 piece of their collected candy for entry, and the line stretched around the corridor. By hour 3, Ambassador Tiara had given up trying to stop the madness. She found herself in the station's central promenade, where an impromptu Halloween party had erupted. The half of the station that hadn't evacuated had apparently decided that if they couldn't beat the predator cubs, they'd join them. Human vendors had appeared from nowhere selling candy and costume supplies. A Rithian musician had modified her plasma harp to play spooky music. Even the normally stern Thorian delegation had organized a bobbing for battle fruit competition that had attracted quite a crowd. Raya and Toby found themselves at the center of it all, now surrounded by curious aliens demanding to know more about this Halloween tradition. On Earth, Raya explained to a fascinated group of Pelshar diplomats, Halloween started as a harvest festival mixed with remembering the dead. But now it's mostly about community and fun. And facing your fears, Toby added. Watching Karath lead his pack in a surprisingly coordinated dance, they'd apparently learned from the station's human cultural database. It's about making scary things not scary anymore. Ambassador Tiara approached the children, her expression unreadable. For a moment, Raya and Toby wondered if they were about to face interstellar consequences for unleashing organized juvenile predators on an unsuspecting diplomatic station. Then Tiara smiled, a gesture that looked terrifying on her predatory features but was unmistakably warm. The human cubs have taught my offspring something valuable, she said, that the hunt can be more than survival. It can be joy, community, shared experience. She gestured to the promenade, where species that normally barely tolerated each other were trading candy, admiring costumes, and teaching each other their own cultural celebrations. You've created something remarkable here. Chaos, yes, but remarkable chaos, so we're not in trouble, Toby asked hopefully. You're in enormous trouble, Tiara confirmed, but it's the good kind. The kind that reminds us why this station exists. She paused, then added with a mischievous glint in her golden eyes, though I should warn you, the cubs are already planning for this Christmas holiday they heard mentioned. Something about a jolly hunter who breaks into homes. Raya and Toby exchanged worried glances. We might need to clarify a few things about that one, Raya said weakly. As station security finally managed to round up the last of the candy-drunk cubs, and the evacuation shuttles began returning their passengers, Harmony's Edge settled into a new kind of normal. One where humanity's strangest traditions had become a bridge between species, where predator cubs could hunt for treats instead of prey, and where everyone learned that sometimes the best diplomacy came wrapped in chaos, costumes and candy, and in the station's updated cultural database, Halloween was officially listed as a pan-species celebration, with a warning label that read, may cause spontaneous hunting behavior in juvenile predators. Proceed with caution and adequate candy supplies.